Y'all remember that saying on the Sixth Sense movie? I see dead people. Now, I don't want you to be offended because I'm not saying that you're dead. You are in the classroom of Morpheus, and I'm going to say, here I am. Leon C., a.k.a. Morpheus. And I started laughing because that's the first thing that came to my mind as you see the title. And I'm going to tell you how. See, I see people. It's getting loud out here again. One day when I upgrade my studio and get things adjusted for you, you will not have to listen to the noise in the background. But until then, I have to do with the equipment that I have. But I see, let me tell you something. First of all, when it comes to the working class people, I don't have to ask them what they do for a living. I don't have to ask them how many hours they work per day, per week. I don't even have to ask them if they're happy or if they're exhausted or wore out. All I have to do is look at them. Just look at them. And I can tell the difference between somebody who works a simple 7 to 8 hour job. I can tell the difference between that same person versus how stressful their job is during the 8 hours that make them feel like it's a whole 12-hour shift. And I know the difference between a 12-hour to 11-hour shift worker versus a 12-hour to 11-hour shift worker who loves what they're doing to make money. But this is for those who are unfortunate. And I didn't highlight it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it for you. I'm going to give you some help today and highlight some things that's going to empower you. And it's not just for the workers out here. It's not just for those who are busting their butts to make a living and provide a means of sacrifice and survival for themselves and their children. This also applies to your spiritual life and your mental life as well. So therefore, stay tuned. You're going to get something out of this. It is for pretty much everyone. And the hustle for money, the hustle to provide a means for yourself, the hustle requires a payment that is time. Time is your most valuable asset. Have you ever heard a person or people say that they wish they can go back in time and change a thing in their life, or they get a certain age in their life and they say, I wish if I could go back, I would change the failures that I made? Or you say some people say, I wish I was younger. Or some people say, well, years ago I used to, or years ago I would have been able to, but I'm old now, so forth and so on. Definitely when it comes to gender, age, and so forth, depending on what they're trying to do, in the current world to the future. I'm pretty sure a handful of many people, if you give them the opportunity to jump in a time capsule, they will go back in time and do something a little differently with the time that they have. So therefore, I will always equate in my audios and now that your time is your life. Your time is your life. And when you are working, depending on what you are doing, whether it is being a businessman, entrepreneur, or you're working for a corporation or just a small home business, you got to remember that there's an exchange that is going on between you and that person or the organization. And the one thing that you're going to need to do, which will be best for you to do if you love yourself and you care about yourself, is understand that there is a balance of labor, meaning the labor must be worth the pay. That means the labor must be worth what you are getting in return for the time, which equates to your life. Okay? But those who work for example, I'm going to say the 10-hour shift, and the labor that they are dallying with on a constant basis, that they're dealing with in order to pay their bills because they don't have another job or they don't have another position, or that's just what they're going to stick with for the short amount of time. Okay, oftentimes that burden is laborious upon them. Oftentimes it is a stressful position to be in. And not only that, you got to remember that you are giving away 10 hours of your life, 10 hours of your time, 10 hours of your personal world, 10 hours where you can actually be living, doing something more functional than being a tool or a pawn for a system, or a job or something like that. But I'm just making the pavement before I get to the girth of the subject. Okay, so just bear with me as I begin to create this building block for you before you're able to get the full picture of what I'm saying. The hurtful part about it is when you work like that and you don't know that you're working like that. There is many people that they have a habit of just working, from sun up to sundown. They've been taught to do that way. Their grandfather did that, grandparents, mothers, and their current life surrounds around that type of working class and that type of functionality. But there's two problems with this that I have noticed as a helper, okay, and as a person that's with you as your inspirator and empowerment provider, is that one branch of it is this individual who will work their entire life. You will give more than 10, 11 hours a day, 12 hours a day, go home as soon as it's dark, throw your shoes off, put your hat on the coat rack, take a bath, get something small to eat, probably drink a Coke, sit down to a bag of chips and probably some leftover food. Then you go to sleep with the little bitty hours that you have, maybe 6-7 hours, and you get up and you do it all over again for at least Monday to Friday. For some people, maybe Monday to Saturday. Only Sunday is your free time where you can go home and chop on some wood, take out the trash, get things cleaned around the house, go to the gym, do little minor things, go shopping with your family, so forth and so on. But what happens is those people end up catching up with themselves. What that is you got two people that I tell you about. There is a physical you, there is a spiritual you. And the spiritual you is behind you trying to catch up with the physical you. The physical you is ignoring the spiritual you when that happens. And to the point where it's so extreme where you don't notice that you are missing out on yourself. You don't notice that you're just working, you're hustling, you're pumping just to get money into your home. But nature is a part of your spiritual self. Your physical self is your entrained, indoctrinated self by your environment, by your organizations, meaning by your the new way that America operates. Or you can also say by the modern day age of working and functionality. So you're constantly on the move and you're constantly neglecting yourself. It's almost like you're sitting next to yourself and your spirit's trying to speak, but you keep saying, shut up, be quiet, hush, be quiet, shut up, don't talk now. And you put your hands up on your shoulders like you do when you wave at somebody. I was like, no, shut up, hush, shh, not now, quiet, be quiet. What'd I tell you? Shh. This is what you tell yourself. You don't know it, but you say this, that particular person. And because it's connected to nature, because it's the thing that allows your heart to beat, because it's the thing that moves your corporeal body around, your corporeal envelope. Oftentimes when somebody, when they're not here, when they're in the RIP stage, regardless of the embalmment process and just, maybe a minor stroke or something. Well, not a minor. It's not minor. A stroke that lended them to leave us. Okay, to the heart attacks, to those who just fell out and they're not able to breathe again. When you look at them, it's like they're just in a sleep state. Just a sleep state. And yes, there's science to it. There's the chemistry, and I'm not going to get into all that in this audio. I understand that there's a biological change that happens, the decompose and blah, blah. Okay, we're not going to talk about it. But you would almost promise to yourself, if you were to see that they would actually get up and walk again. Okay, that they will move again. But you notice that there's no more life in them. They're just gone. And that life that's gone is that spirit or that soul. So they're just a what would you say, just a body that's laying there. But it has a world of its own. If you notice, it stays here. It stays, in the earth after it's 6 feet under. But your spiritual self, the real you, is no longer there. It's a different dimension. It's a different place. It's a different person that's always ignored when you decide to clock in. When you decide to do the task of others and neglect yourself. Now, you can live your life. And this is why I need you to listen carefully to me, because you can live your life. You can work and be you at the same time. You can be on the clock and leave some time to yourself, to pray, to meditate, to walk upon the waters, to be happy. This is why you may hear people say often it's best for you to find a career that you love to do, or find a task that you enjoy doing, because you can do your task that you love to do and you won't feel like you're missing out, because now you are appeasing to yourself, and maybe it might give your spirit and your soul some delight. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who's not able to do that. And life often gives you a monkey wrench and it throws it your way. So for that particular person with the second person I was telling you about, they'll do that and they'll not notice it, and they will work that way habitually until their nature catches up with them. And when that happens, the persons will eventually regret spending 11 hours, 12 hours a day working and neglecting themselves, because eventually they'll say, well, I never had the time to do whatever. And they'll use that as an excuse after they're 46, 47, 48, 50 some years old. Some people 32, and they're out of shape. They're in bad condition of their life. They never sat down to meditate for anything, and their mind is in all kind of directions. They have no self-control because they never practiced self-control, because they neglected their spiritual self. So it catches up with them, and they realize that because nature creeps on them. Nature tells them to change their direction. By that time, it's too late. When your spirit is tired of being neglected, and you've been disrespecting it the whole time by chasing money and staying on your grind and being busy, doing 10-hour shifts, stuff like that, it will only speak to you for so long, to where what your spirit would do, you'll do this for the last time. You'll say, hush, be quiet. I'll get to you when I get a chance to shh, be quiet. Then your spirit will say, oh, okay, you know what? That's the last time I'm going to talk to you. So what will happen is your spirit will get up, it'll walk away, and it won't leave you forever. Now, what I mean is, it will be at a distance from you. This is when you have lower instincts. This is when you are disconnected from your nature. This is when you have problems in your life. This is when you have no ground. This is when you lose control in debates and arguments. This is when you get confused as to what direction you need to go. This is when you run to the church every now and then and ask for a prayer, or needing direction from somebody who's not you, because your spirit is at a distance. Your real self is in the same room with you, but it's on the corner of the room now. When it was once sitting next to you, whispering in your ear, hey, pay attention to me over here. I'm over here. Give me some time. Oh, you're doing 10 hours a day? Give me at least an hour, please, Bob, Sarah, Jane, Joshua. Give me just a little bit of time. What are you doing? And then you keep ignoring it. The spirit gets up and it starts pouting, but in a different way. It just leaves you to your own devices. It's not going to be like a child. Okay, if you think about it that way, it will get up, walk away, and sit on the other end of the room. So whatever it's trying to say to you, you can barely hear it. And whatever you're trying to say to your spirit, you can barely hear it. This is why it's called distance. This is your instincts, which is fading away from you. That way, and also in that way, you can barely hear the voice of nature. You can barely hear the voice of, some people will say, of God. I'm only telling you what some people will say. That's why you will say that sometimes. You can barely hear the voice of your consciousness. You can barely hear the voice of your enlightenment anymore. You don't feel your spirit anymore. Some people who are once in the church, I'm not going to get to it. You know how I feel about that, but I'm just going to give you an example here. Some people say, I'm falling out of line with God. I can't hear or feel the spirit of God anymore. I can't feel the energy anymore. I can't be positive anymore. I don't know what's going on anymore, because the soul is at a distance. You told it to shut up, so it shut up. So it's all the way over there because you wanted to be on your grind. You wanted to pay for your Mercedes. Okay. You wanted to keep paying on your house note. Okay. You wanted to be on your grind longer than what you needed to be. You went above and beyond balance. Balance needs to be respected. Balance is the key to life. Balance is what will help you. Balance is what will balance your day. Balance is what will give you strength while you are in the midst of struggle and labor. When you're able to give yourself love, life, and happiness while you are working on the clock and doing whatever that you can to make money. Okay? But when you are not doing that, again, here we go. It is an obvious thing. It is obvious because it shows on your countenance. Your hair start getting stringy. You know, your eyes start sagging. Your eyes start sinking into your skull. Okay, you can't sleep as well as you need to be sleeping. You don't give yourself the proper amount of nutrition. Even if you gave yourself a proper amount of nutrition, it won't be enough because you still need to rest. You still need to concentrate. You still need to pay attention to your soul and meditate. Go fishing, go walking, go breathing, go for a boat ride. Go take a vacation for 2 weeks. And go take a nice bath all night for good hours, you know, till you wrinkle a little bit while drinking a glass of wine or some tea at the same time, and read a book while you're in the bathtub, relaxing in the nice warm water, you know, to pamper yourself, give yourself and your soul some love, whereas you've been giving more of yourself to the world and giving yourself very little. That way you can keep your soul next to you. Okay? But that second person, I told you about the first person, the second person, okay? What happens is they end up burning out. Okay? I'm going to pause this for a second because I'm going to adjust my microphones out here, and I'm going to try to get back to it. But I'm going to get to that second person in just 1 second. Now, getting back to it. That person, the second person who works themselves like that, is a little bit different than a person who have done it because they've been working their entire life and been raised to do that and think that working is their way to success. You know, they don't mind working 10, 11 hours a day, you know, and give themselves no time, but they're used to it because their life is their work. You know, their life is the time that they give, even though they still need to give themselves some time, even though they need rest, even though they need to concentrate on their spirit. Everything still applies to them. It's just that their mind and their perception is just a little different. So for those who do have a soul, I would say, or a spirit that is based on enlightenment, based on doing something different, and definitely evolution. Evolution is a big thing. Everybody's not going to evolve. You know, everybody's not going to take their life or their superior human essence and being to the next level. So for those who have the potential to do so, but neglect themselves to the point where they understand it and they feel as if they need to be doing something else besides their 9 to 5, or, you know, giving their complete time and energy away to other people, and choose to ignore themselves, okay, end up darkening their skies. What that means is they end up burning out. I know you heard that expression before where you hear a person say, don't do too much of whatever it might be, or you burn yourself out. You know, you burn yourself out of your job. You burn yourself out of whatever situation that you're in. You burn your marriage out or wherever else. Or you burn the donkey dunking out if you do too much in, you know, the 2-3 year period every day. You know, you burn out. You know, you got to do things in moderation. You know, you burn out. But in this case, it's sort of the same, but it's more like your spirit, strength, and energy. What happened is, because you really need to alleviate yourself and evolve and do something better for yourself to enlighten your spirit, your soul, so forth, so on. Look at your spirit as a light bulb. As a light bulb, where you work yourself, you overwork yourself, you put yourself on overdrive, where you end up making the bulb brighter than what it needs to be. Because you're injecting yourself stimulation, coffee, stress, cigarette smoke, funny sticks, whatever that you do, or alcohol, in order to provide yourself a means of motivation to survive the day or the year or whatever occupation that you're doing. Okay, so what ends up happening is you end up burning yourself out. You end up burning, like some engines, when you over rev them. Okay, you put too much stress on the engine, you can burn it out. You know, you can lock it up. Okay, you put too much stress on the engine, what it's not capable of or made for. So you end up burning it up. It can be a brand new engine, but depending on how hard and heavy that you put mileage on it, you know, how strong you kick the curve up around the corner, You swerving around and going from 0 to 60 at every light, at full throttle, then you're going to burn the engine up. You're going to burn up your transmission, so forth and so on, and it'll die out soon. All right. That's the same as your spirit. So that particular person is a little bit more worse than other person who's just working because they're used to working. And that's just what they do. And they're comfortable doing that because they haven't built up a sense of self. But the person who burns themselves out don't know that they're burnt out because they use supplements. They have to have their stress sticks, which is cigarettes. They have to have their liquid courage, which is alcohol, in order to provide them with the means of a survival. All right. In that particular time, when your light bulb goes down and dim, when you burn yourself out from giving all of yourself time and energy to the world, to the time clock, instead of giving yourself your life energy and providing the means for your spirit and your mind, besides church. I'm not telling you to go to some spiritual indoctrination, because that's indoctrination. I'm talking about you and your instincts and going away for a while. Taking a breather, doing something that you enjoy doing, regardless of anybody else's opinion. Everybody has their opinion of what they think should be more valuable during their day. But you yourself can only determine what you think is valuable versus your time. Because remember, it's a trade. It's a trade. Whatever you wanting that you're needing to provide, you're needing to provide time and energy for, you are paying the cost. The price that you are paying is your life, and your life is your time. So whatever that you're putting your time into, you are investing your life into that. Therefore, whatever that item is, or whatever you think the value of that item is that's given back to you, have to be either equal or greater. I prefer for it to be greater, so it can be worthwhile for you to invest your time and your life into. Therefore, you will get more out of it than you are providing. What that means is it's going to enlighten you and make your spirit better. So it's worth putting your time and your energy into whatever that thing might be. If it's your hobby and nobody else likes your hobby, but you do, that's your business. Whether it be building, whether it be, doing some type of construction work at home. Some people have a toy model collection where they just like to put toy models together, glue them together, glue them piece by piece with the details and put them on the shelf. That may be your hobby. That may be what you want to give your energy to. Some people may be, bowling. Bowling may be their extracurricular fun that they enjoy doing. Some people are good at shooting pool. Whatever it is, you as an individual know that it's going to bring your soul and spirit delight. So you are willing to pay the price with your time versus your life into that particular item or event. So therefore, for you personally, it's only about you and what you desire and what you see the value in that object or thing is that matters, besides opinion. Because your environment, Agent Smith, in all ranges, high and low, is going to try to implement one way or the other that whatever personal things that you like is insignificant, because Agent Smith just wants you to give your life and your time to nothing and you get nothing in return. Agent Smith don't mind you working 12 hours a day and only giving yourself like 4 or 5 hours to rest, go home and eat like some Hot Pocket food, just throw the junk in the microwave and radiate it for a little while and eat the junk and eat the radiation, get sick in the future, drink your Mountain Dew and your pop and your cigarette on the side, and you'll call it a day. Because Agent Smith sees something in the far future that particular person who is allowing their light to burn dim, to burn out, don't see. Agent Smith makes future plans, whereas that person do not. Agent Smith is looking at you 12 years in advance. You're only looking at yourself as that day or that moment, where you go ahead and spend the entire day working until you get home at 9 o'clock at night. Then you got to go to bed, all stanky and sweaty, smell like all kind of stuff. Then you find you got to get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, do it all over again. Agent Smith is rubbing his hands and like, yep, this is nice. This is what I want from you. Now I'm going to put in the end as well that this is why it's important to teach our children how to invest. Teach our friends and our children how to invest in the stock market, how to get your hands into outer means of providing for yourself, whereas you're not putting all your time and energy into one bucket. You want to get your finances into every area of your country or your life, whereas you are making money without giving away your life or your time to any system. All right, where you're going to be crippled eventually, because most systems don't care about you. Okay, most systems want you to be the pawn, to be the one to go out there and do the dredge work, while they sit back and enjoy their air conditioning and their big fan and sit back and drink a pina colada while you're suffering. Okay, but you don't want your children to do that. So therefore, it would be best to get your life together. And if you don't get your life together, get your child's life together. Tell them to invest. Now, I'm not saying invest in everything, because I told you about this in the audio log, if you've been paying attention, that just because a stock market or something is there for you to invest in, you're going to make money for it, that you should. You got to be careful what you invest in the stock markets and other type of financial infrastructures around your country, because you could be investing in something that's going to destroy the future of your children. Or your child can be investing in a technology, a program, a pill, or a scientific project that's going to hurt the next generation after them, or it's going to hurt them 10 years in advance and they don't know it, all because they want to make money from that stock market. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. It's almost like, for example, we're not doing it probably somewhere else in dark shadows, but it's almost like investing in a poison pill. This poison pill, you get a certain amount of shares from it. OK, but if you invest in it, of course, you get your shares, you make money from it, so forth, so on. But the more people who share and, invest into the stock market of this poison pill, eventually it starts skyrocketing, and it become popular. The poison pill is given to practically everybody, because you invested in it and a million other people invested in it. So, yeah, you may have made money for that time being, but everybody else suffers because you invested in something that was going to make somebody else sick in the future. So I'm not preaching nor telling you that you need to invest in anything and everything just because it's going to make money and just because it's going to give you some type of financial infrastructure. You do got to be careful of that. And that's when you have to have instincts and smarts, because just because I can invest in something don't mean I will. Like the technology, like I talk about, the nasty medications, the things that are making you inhuman so you can be a transhuman in the future. OK, I'm against that. So even if I can invest in it, Automil, or prosthetics, all kind of crazy stuff that most other people might be interested in, I don't. I'll take a pass on it. I may not get any money from it. I may not have the financial infrastructure, but I'm not going to make a means for the future to destroy itself. I'm not going to support the destruction of America and try to preach to you and be an empowerment provider telling you that I'm Morpheus and I'm against the machine, but yet I'm actually helping to provide for the machines by investing in it and getting shares from it. OK, I practice what I preach. So I'm giving you an example here. So I don't invest in it. I wouldn't invest in things that are natural, organics. I will invest in farmers. I invest in people that are all about botanics, about health. Natural allopathic medicines. OK, health healing, physicals. OK, empowerment providers or other content providers. I will invest in that. OK, to make sure that America is on, you can say our people, you, Neil, is on a better track. OK, therefore, I am going to be able to have the ability to actually sit back and be at liberty to be happy. All right, to be happy enough to say, OK, I'm glad that, those people who have benefited from my investment have succeeded. OK, so you got to be aware of that type of thing and have your mindset. But it's up to us as parents and teachers, to put that particular child or teenager or person in the right perspective, because we're all about chasing money. And that's going to be the end of a lot of humanity, especially in American lifestyle. And obvious, again, you can tell when the person is working themselves to death because they look like death. They're working themselves to where they're no good for themselves. Skin is pale. They coughing all the time. They get sick real easy. Immune system is going bad. They got they got night tremors. All right. Heart palpitations, sleep apnea. Your hair is balding. They're not even 32 years old yet and their hair is bald. Weight is up and down, and everything you eat is going to affect your body. So therefore, Just because you could put $1 on it and you're going to get $1 from it, that doesn't mean that you should use that as a way of financial success, because your lifetime, you can't get that back. You may be able to get your 10, 15 bucks or a grand or whatever that you invest in the stock market or life, whatever that you do. You may be able to get that back, whatever that you purchase. But however, you can't get your time back. You cannot get your life nor your time back once you sell it and give it away. Once you sell your 12 hours a day, every day for 50 years, you're not going to get it back. Because once at your 51st birthday, you realize that you lived your whole life working, but you should have been working on your spiritual self. You should have been working on your soul and your heavenly goal or whatever you plan on doing. It's going to be too late by then. You just brought into Agent Smith's plan of destruction. Now I'm going to go ahead and I got several other videos for you, audios that's going to come to you. I know I kind of blazed through this, but I'm going to give you more of a detail of it and a few more of my other audios. So just stay tuned. There's just enough to just wet your whistle a little bit and to give you better understanding on how important it is for you to value your time and your life, and that chasing money isn't everything, because money is not going to save you with your last breaths. Money's not going to make you money's not going to make your sense of God proud of you when you're at the pearly gates. It's what you do with your life and your time and what you invested in that has value to your soul and to the soul of other people, and definitely children, that's going to matter. All right. This is Leon C., aka Morpheus. You received my red pill, and I have more audios for you. And again, like, share, and definitely subscribe it. And check out that book, 2020 America Rise or Fall Hard. And as I say before, it's not just a year, it is your vision to open up your eyes that we need to rise and do better for ourselves, or we're going to disappear from greatness.